everyone, this is Tutor Ted Gillespie with a new tutorial. I posted on the cow a clip showing how FreeForm Pro, the new plugin from Metal, the big brother of the regular FreeForm plugin that comes packed with CS5, how that can be used to create tunnels and tubes in 3D space and After Effects. Now, I promised a tutorial on that, and this is the first part of it. What you will see now obviously doesn't look exactly like the finished clip because I wanted to split the tutorial in two and show you a couple of different ways of how to do tubes and tunnels. The first one, I'm going to show you more of an organic curved look of a tunnel that you can see from the outside, and also you can fly inside of this tunnel. And then the second part, I'll be using that to create the shapes in the middle of another big tunnel that is straight, and then also show you how to create a three-dimensional disc using FreeForm Pro and a bunch of other little tricks that'll make the final shot look like the one I posted. Now, starting with this one, I'll show you really quick how the clip looks like. As you can see, it's a pretty organic looking tunnel. You can fly around it and then go inside. Pretty cool looking, I think, for a sci-fi theme, or maybe it can even be used in the medical area, animating blood flowing through veins. And that being said, I'm just going to get rid of everything here and start from scratch. I'm going to create a new composition, 100 pixels by 720 at 25 frames per second, 5 seconds long, and I'm going to call this shapes. And as you can see here, I'm working at 32 bits. I will bring in my rulers, set up title and action save. Just that's a quick way of giving me where the 50 pixel mark is, and then I will also set up rulers for 25 pixels and 75 pixels. Now, once I'm done with that, I will also create a new layer that's a solid white 25 pixels by 720, and I will position that with a center right on the 75 pixel ruler. Then I'm going to create a rectangular mask on this layer. One quick thing I'm going to do is just make sure that at the top and the bottom my mask goes way out. Then I'm going to feather that mask to let's say 19. Now also to this white solid I'm going to apply distort mesh warp, and I'm going to create a mesh warp that has 7 rows and 1 column, and what that gives me is 7 distortion points that I can use to make the shape wavy. I'm just going to select these points and distort the shape to make it look it's curving, and then also change them to give it more of a organic look. Alright, there we go. This is a shape that I'm happy with right now. What I'm going to do is just duplicate this layer and then scale one of the layers at -100 on the x-axis, and then I will just move this layer all the way back with its center on the 25 pixel mark. And this way, as you can see, I've obtained a mirror image of the first layer. Now, this composition I will use to create a new composition called displacement map, and I will duplicate this composition and call this one texture map. I have created my displacement map comp, in which I'm going to add a new adjustment layer and then a blur on this layer, fast blur of 1 pixel head repeat edge pixels. And then the texture map, I'll also create an adjustment layer, and then on this layer I am going to pick cell pattern. I'm going to use the cell pattern to generate high quality crystals. I'm going to invert, heighten the contrast, make the size 10, create an evolution of 1, cycle the evolution, give it a random seed of 100, enable tiling 7 by 7, and also what I'm going to create is a keyframe here and a keyframe for the offset. Go to the last frame, offset this and bring this to 0. So now what I have is a nice flowing texture. Also, I will add a blur, again a fast blur, this time just a vertical blur, repeat edge pixels, and blur this to, I don't know, 9 pixels or even 7. There we go. I'm going to create my master comp, and I'm going to use a 720 preset. 1280 by 720 square pixels, 25 frames per second, 5 seconds long. There we go. And I'm going to use my displacement map and my texture map. Can turn off the displacement. I'm also going to make a camera, just regular preset. It doesn't matter. You can use whatever camera you want. And I'm going to apply on the texture map layer Metal FreeForm Pro. FreeForm Pro has quite a few more controls and is much more powerful than the regular FreeForm plugin. This is still in beta at the moment when I'm creating this tutorial, so you might see slight changes in the interface in the final product, but not in a significant way. That being said, I'm going to apply some displacement mapping, picking the displacement map, and as I'm doing this, I should also move the camera so you guys can see what's going on. There we go. Nice. 2 halves of the tunnel. Now the only thing I need to do is I'm going to make this grid to have 1 row, 2 columns, and I'm going to go into grid control points, the first 2, and I'm going to bring this point up to 50 pixels, and I'm going to do the same with this one. Basically, I brought this side, I flipped it underneath the top. Now obviously you can see there's some discrepancies, and I have a problem because I still see black around the shape. But here's what you do to get rid of that. First of all, you can use alpha as a mask under displacement mapping, and you enable polygonal alpha clip. You tie that to adaptive tessellation. You find the tessellation under render quality, and you can check the adaptive tessellation here. One other thing, under editing controls, under auto tangents, you hit enable, and then you bring that down to 100, and that will solve your problem. And now to refine the look, I'm going to bring the alpha clip to 0. We are going to enable the 3D transparency, and we're just going to increase the number of subdivisions to 128. Just going to move the camera a little around to show you. This is how it looks. One of the things that you notice right here is that on the very edge where the two pieces come together, you do get this dark area that's semi-transparent, and if you want to get rid of that, you might have to play a little more with the alpha clipping, and then bringing the two pieces together. You just play with the displacement bias, you bring them closer, and then obviously the tunnel looks a bit flat, so you might want to increase the displacement. Maybe that's a little too much. Just go to 25%, and there you go. That's less of this dark area that you get here. And you get the point. The more you play, the better looking it gets. But for now, the purpose of this tutorial, I think it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. If I want this to look even better, what I'll do is set up a high anti-aliasing, and that'll make it look a heck of a lot better. That's my piece that I'm going to use then to create my long tunnel. Now, there's one new thing that's really powerful in FreeForm Pro, and that's the generator. Generator creates allows you to create multiple instances and to offset them in positioning, rotation, scale, and add randomness to them. Now for this tutorial, what we're going to do is pretty simple. Let me just show you first. I'm going to add 2 extra instances. So I'm going to have a number of 3. I'm going to distribute them equally from center, and then I'm going to distribute them at 720, which is the exact height of my tunnel file. Remember, it was 100 pixels by 720, so that's why I moved them by 720 pixels. Basically, I just made sure that they're right on top of each other. And here it is. I already have quite a long tunnel here, and if I want to make it longer, all I need to do is increase the number of instances, and it's magic. I have a long tunnel. And as you can see, since I chose distribute equally, I have these instances in the front and the back of my original layer. And this is it. This is my tunnel. Here it is. You can see how it looks on the inside. Now, one other thing that I did to create more of a three-dimensional look to my tunnel, really quick, I'll show you. I just turned off the instances. I'm going to, for time's sake, just reset the camera, and I'll I'll show you. This will affect the way your tunnel looks. If you go up to 3 rows and you change in now what is the second row, the Z position to 50, and obviously this one to 50 as well. Now you have a little three-dimensional curve in space here, and what you need to do also is to change this one to 50. There you go. And thus you have this piece that it's distorted and displaced in 3D space. And obviously if you go back and you add your other instances, your whole tube is going to be distorted and displaced in the X and the Z axis. Now the rest of it is basically just camera animation and adding a little bit of radial blur once you go inside the tunnel, a 4-color gradient in the background, and a glow on top, and this is what you get, where you can fly around the tunnel and go inside, and you have a nice 3D tunnel that you can use in many ways. I'm sure you guys can find lots of uses for it. Hopefully this was a good tutorial. It wasn't boring. It was fun for you to watch, and you'll get lots of cool stuff using this technique. Signing off, this is Tutor Ted Gillescu with a new tutorial on the Creative Cow. Thanks for watching.